and welcome to another video in the Sober Bliss series with me, Gail, and today I'm talking to Lauren, who is doing the most wonderful and exciting things with her sobriety. Watch the video to find out more. Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sober Bliss Meets. Today I'm delighted to be joined by the lovely Lauren, who joins us today from Edinburgh. Hi Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Just tell us a little bit about yourself then and your kind of drinking sober journey.
Okay, well, it is quite colourful, I have to say that. Basically, I stopped drinking around 3 years ago. I was living in Korea, in South Korea, teaching English, and up until then, I had basically managed to swerve, getting into huge trouble, put it like that. I didn't really have any sort of stop button when it comes to drinking or anything else for that matter. So yeah, it was really just becoming a big problem for me. Towards the end, I was getting into trouble, sort of spending time with people who maybe don't share the same values. There was a whole pile of things going on. I was risking my job. Actually, to be honest, it was mainly fear that made me stop, because I was having pains in my body. I'd convinced myself that I had some sort of pancreatitis, and I'm not 100% sure if it was, but I have a fair feeling it was sort of onset. And just the whole psychological side of making bad decisions, every single weekend there was it was just complete carnage. And yeah, I was sort of on a path of self-destruction, and I decided to stop in Korea. And I just, since then, life has just been getting better and better, and it's just a miracle, really. Like a lot of other people, probably feel like being given a second chance. So since then, I've sort of been doing a lot of thinking and about what I want to do, and how I can give back. And so I suppose that's how you and I got in contact. Yeah.
So when you decided to stop drinking, was that it? Did you say, okay, that's it, I'm not going to have any more? And has it been plain sailing after that? Or how did it go in the early days?
Yeah, that's a good point. So the night I actually decided to stop, I didn't think, right, that's it forever, because it's very hard to think long term, when you're in that situation. So I thought, right, I'm going to try and stop for, well, I was about to go on a trip, actually, a little organized trip to one of the islands in Korea. And I thought, right, I'm not going to drink on this trip. And then after the trip, I felt, oh, that was okay. I managed to do that. And then I just said, right, I'm going to try and not drink for a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And eventually, well, now it's almost 3 years, and it's just been going on. And now I can safely say that I don't plan to ever do that again. But certainly at the beginning, it was just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah. So what did you do then to help you through the moments, the cravings, to keep you focused?
Well, for me, I didn't actually have any support, and so it was quite tough going, I have to say. I didn't have any of the social support. I am quite interested in certain aspects of spirituality, and I was watching a lot of videos and things that really helped me. Yeah, what kept me going? It really was just taking one day at a time. Yeah, that's how I did it. I know some people sort of, well, they can go to AA, or they've got different groups, but it was also because I got such a shock. I really had such a shock and had such fear that my body, I was actually, the thing with the pancreatitis, I thought, right, that's it. It was a fear that really made me stop, and I was able to not do it then after that, because of that fear. And plus, I'd also got myself into some trouble with it was some sort of negative relationship as well, and which really scared me, and so that sort of helped me keep the momentum.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I suppose, like you said, you were in Korea, so you would be completely on your own because I would imagine the people who you were with were all young and free and, you know, partying a bit. How did other people react? Were they supportive? Did you tell them straight away?
Well, my co-workers, I think they were all, well, they probably just didn't really believe that I was going to completely stop drinking, because they had actually witnessed my extreme partying ways, and they probably thought, oh, well, I actually remember a couple of them said, well, we all say that, and we all try to give up for a couple of weeks. And I remember thinking, oh, thanks for support. But
I know.
it's yeah, you just have to sort of take it with a pinch of salt. And yeah, so some of them were really supportive. And usually you'll find that the people who don't really, alcohol doesn't play a big part in their lives, are more supportive. And people who maybe have a thing, or maybe think they should stop drinking, are a little more resistant to you stopping drinking, because it makes them think about their own, the role that alcohol plays in their own lives. But you're
Yeah.
going to find that anywhere. But yes, definitely in Korea. Korea has a huge drinking culture, and they're still at this, they're at the stage where it is quite rare for people to just abstain from alcohol. And there are people that have to, of course, that have had real problems with it. But certainly the expat community in Korea, they are teachers. A lot of them were a bit younger than me, and they are there to party. However, I did end up meeting some friends that alcohol didn't play a big part in their lives. They maybe had a drink now and again, and that was really great. So in a way, I suppose you could say they were supportive, and it was really great to meet them. But I didn't even think they existed actually when I used to drink. Well, you don't. You think that everyone drinks, and there's no
Yeah,
one
you
out there
too.
that doesn't drink. So yeah, I did a little bit on my own, and also having support of the friends that I made.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important, like you say, to try if you can to seek out other sober people in the
Yeah,
beginning, because then at least you've got somebody who kind of knows what you're going through, which does help.
yeah.
I was lucky because my husband and I did it together, so we had support from each other,
Okay,
which
good.
was hugely helpful. 'Cause I don't know if I could have done it if he'd kept drinking and
Yeah.
vice versa. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So that was what, yeah, 3.5 years ago.
Okay. So
No,
yeah.
for you, I mean, I'm 11 months. So you
Oh,
stopped
well,
three and a
yeah.
half,
So almost 3 years. Almost 3 years.
almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So what's been the best thing then? How's your life changed because of not drinking?
Well, I was just thinking about this earlier, and basically when I used to drink and have that whole cycle of knowing that I was going to go and drink, and not having that fear of, because I knew there was going to be carnage, and then sort of dealing with the consequences. And
Mm.
during that time, which spanned from basically my late sort of teens to I was about 30, early 30s then, the having a good day was a sort of rare thing, Whenever I had what you could call a good day, I was like, wow, oh my goodness, that I had a good day yesterday. And when I stopped drinking, I started to have more and more of these good days,
Yeah,
until most of them started to become a good day. And I also, thanks to there's different videos and people that I follow, the sort of spiritual side of things, I changed my perspective a lot, and from having such a negative perspective to a more positive perspective and outlook on life. And yeah, most days were good, and there are days where it's you still sort of struggle, and um,
mm.
from a woman's point of view specifically, hormonal sort of things would affect me more than anything. But yeah, so I just started to have a lot more good days, and I get up early. I would go out on my bike. I would plan little day trips and fill my day with things that I love doing, going to museums, spending time in nature. And it was just amazing. I just literally felt like I have been given a second chance.
Wow.
And this is amazing. And I still am so grateful for that. And I think about that so often, even though, things sometimes don't go the way you want. I just am so grateful to have had the strength to get to where I am now.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. The whole world opens up, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Just by stopping one thing,
Yeah.
then the whole world opens up.
Yeah, it's
Lovely.
incredible.
Yeah. You mentioned spirituality a bit there. So is that a kind of a tool that you use to help you?
Mm.
What is it that you do? Is it meditation or?
Yeah, so, well, while I was drinking as well, I was always sort of interested in this, and I knew that, well, I was interested in hearing about uh, how the way we think affects our
Mm,
reality. But while I was drinking, it was very hard to sort of adhere to that and try to practice that while going out and getting trashed and destroying my body,
yeah.
whenever I could. So it was whenever I stopped drinking, um, I could really focus on that. And I suppose it's just my mindset, which I changed. Instead of thinking, if something is maybe going wrong, instead of thinking of it as a necessarily a good or a bad thing, just seeing it as it is, and just
Mm,
trying to focus on the positive side of things. And meditation does come into it. I do meditate mainly to try and clear my mind, because I can be quite my mind is very active. That's just the type of person I am. So I find that sitting down and clearing my mind helps me function on a day-to-day basis,
mm,
especially if I've got a lot of things to do. And with this business, it can all get a little bit stressful. But yes, just certainly changing my perspective, and when something happens, not thinking, oh my goodness, this is terrible, these things always happen. Just think, okay, this has happened, but that's fine. And it's about
yeah.
sort of not focusing on those stories that you've always sort of told yourself, and things that are related to your past, and yeah, understanding why you act the way you do. And when yeah, so there's lots of things to talk about that, but that's
Hmm.
a sort of overview of how I've changed my mindset.
Yeah. So becoming more self-aware and mindful and
Yeah,
accepting, I suppose, that, yeah, things
yeah,
do happen, but there is a way to deal with it, which doesn't involve
yes.
reaching for a glass of wine every 5 minutes.
I
No.
think that what you said as well, exactly, that's one of the key word, acceptance. It's accepting things that you can't actually change at that minute. And
Mm.
I realized I was putting up a lot of resistance, and it's the resistance that really takes it out of you, resistance to what is and what's happening. And when we actually come from a place of acceptance, then we can make the right decision
Yeah.
about what we're facing ahead, instead of coming from a place of fear and resistance. So that definitely, I mean, it's an ongoing, lifelong,
Mm.
exercise, and it takes practice, but
Yeah.
it really does improve your quality of life if you're able to sort of think like that more regularly.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a lifestyle choice, isn't it?
Yeah,
Along with not drinking, it's a whole lifestyle
yeah, exactly.
choice. Yeah. So has there been any bad bits about not drinking? Does anything annoy you, or anything that frustrates you about the whole living in the sober sphere, if you like?
Well, just to touch on what we were commenting on yesterday on one of the Facebook posts about how people's reactions to it.
Yeah.
And it used to really bother me actually as well, because you would say to people, no, I'm not going to have a drink. And I'm trying to remember, I think it was sometimes that I went on a date or something like that. And, you know, it was maybe worse because it was a one-to-one situation, not in a group. And the person you're on a date with maybe say, "Oh, are you not even going to have one?" And be like, "No, I don't drink." And just saying sort of maybe thoughtless things, or saying, "Oh, don't you miss alcohol?" And that used to drive me up the wall, because I thought that is just so insensitive, surely.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the people, they don't know, even if they did think that I had a problematic past with alcohol, they don't realize how terrible it was for me and how I remember it. And so after a while, I just started to try and be a bit more understanding. And the only person that's getting upset when I get bothered is me. So I thought, it's not really efficient use of my energy to get bothered every time someone says something a little bit insensitive like that. So there's that. There's dealing with the people's reactions, and also having a lack of things to do sometimes can be a little bit, disheartening, I would say, and can get you down at times. Although I think in the UK, definitely, and Spain to a lesser extent, in the UK, there are lots of activities now for people that don't drink. I recently started a meetup group in Edinburgh for, on a Sunday afternoon, people can go and do things. We went for a walk and coffee last week, maybe go to the museum. So yes,
nice.
Yeah, and I think it's really important, and certainly if you live in a big city in the UK, or any country actually, there'll be more and more activities for you to do. And one other thing I suppose is people's perception of people that don't drink. I think people have a sort of stereotype that when you tell them you don't drink, there's different ways that people react. Some people are curious, other people sort of go quiet as if you've just told them that a family member died or something. Because which it was, but I'm okay to mention it and talk about it. So I think it would be great to change people's perception of what it is to be someone who stopped drinking, and change the perception from maybe I have a feeling they think you're sort of like a shell of a person with a crappy life and you've no friends to do, to realizing that your quality of life gets so much better. And I actually really enjoy being around people who have maybe stopped drinking, and because they're just so full of life and often grateful for having got this new lease of life. So those are a few little things that come up, but that's just the way it is, and it's fine.
I agree with what you're saying about people's perception of us sober folk. They think that either, God, you must have had a really bad time, and God, you've got a problem. Or they think, somebody said to me once, "Oh, what a shame." I was like, no.
No, not a shame.
Quite the opposite, in fact, because when you're drinking, you are stuck in a little bubble, and it just gets smaller and smaller. Your world kind of shrinks, doesn't it? Because you just sit on the sofa and you don't move. That's what I did anyway. And then when you stop, it's like we said at the beginning, that your whole world opens out. So no, it's not a shame at all. No. And I've never met anybody whose life has got smaller or more dull or boring because they stopped drinking. It's completely the opposite. But I think that's what people don't realize. And maybe that's kind of what puts people off as well, because I know a lot of people who think, oh, maybe I should stop, or I know people who have got a bit of a problem and they won't admit it. And then even if they do admit it, they won't do anything about it, because they'll think that they'll become one of those shell-like people who are stuck at home all day being bored. So to try and change your perspective.
That's right.
You mentioned before about your business, which is why I wanted to talk to you, because it's really exciting. You've combined your love of languages and travel and teaching.
Mm.
And you've got a fantastic business, Lauren. So can you tell us all a bit about what that is?
Yes, no problem. So it's all very new, and I'm really excited about it. So basically, like you said, because of my love of travel, languages, and teaching, I come back from Korea and decided that I wanted to create experiences, travel experiences for people in Spain, and specifically in Ronda. Now, as you know, I started out creating this business for a more general public. Including well, it didn't exclude people who drank. For example, there was a wine tasting included in it, and I had this feeling before, and when I was creating the business, that why don't I create opportunities or experiences for people who don't drink? And I ignored that feeling. And I
Oh,
know that was my intuition that told me, but in a way, I was a little bit scared, which is often why we ignore our intuition, is because we are scared of, the implications. And
mm,
so anyway, so fast forward, I've launched this business, which was great. I mean, the product was great, the place is great, the activities were great. But I was upstairs in my room one day, and I just had this feeling. I don't know how to describe it. It was inside, and it was just something telling me that I should be going down the road of creating these experiences for people who don't drink. And
yes.
that's when I knew this is what I should be doing. And so even then, I was just about to go down to London to promote my business. And I went anyway, and it was hard going here, there, everywhere. And I wasn't really getting much back from it. I wasn't really getting much interest. And I know that's maybe the case at the beginning, for a lot of businesses. I know it is. But then
Mm,
I decided I'd look into this alcohol-free option, and I gauged interest on some of the Facebook groups, and quite a lot of people were interested. And I realized that I couldn't really do both. And to be honest, I wanted to be true to myself. And, as a non-drinker myself, I thought, this is really what I should be doing. And I want to
yeah.
be able to, I want people to be able to relate to me. And I want to show people that there are things, really awesome experiences and travel and different things you can do out there as a non-drinker.
Mm,
So I decided last week I'm just going to completely ditch the way I originally started, which was with the wine tasting, and it was for the general public, and I'm just going to solely focus on alcohol-free trips.
oh,
So I've taken a couple of days just to sort of stand back, because it actually involves a whole sort of rebranding, and
yeah.
it's starting from scratch, more or less. I've just changed my website and everything. But yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I really want to do it because I feel like there's a lack of this sort of thing out there, and I feel like people could really benefit from these types of experiences. Just to give you an
Definitely.
idea of what I want to offer, and then I'll explain a little bit why I think it can really help people. So it would be a 5-day sort of experience. People come, they take part in some cultural activities. So we've got a flamenco lesson, which is not just for women, by the way, also for men. We've got sort of art history experience there too, a cooking class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, cooking, really awesome too. Vegetarian options there too. A little bit of Spanish, learning Spanish as well, and a flamenco performance. And you'd stay in a hotel in Ronda, and so sort
Mm,
of groups of about 6 people, surrounded by this beautiful nature. Ronda's absolutely beautiful, and yeah, I always feel really inspired when I go there, and I think it has that effect on a lot of people. So those are the sort of trips I maybe have them an outdoors activity focused one, or maybe like a foodie focused one as well.
mm.
There's a sort of traditional goat cheese making activity as well.
Oh,
There's a night astrology tour you can do as well. There's so many different things there, and I've got so many ideas. But yeah, that's what I'm planning right now. And I think just showing people that there are other people out there like you, and you can go out and have an amazing time without drinking. And that's the whole
Yeah.
idea behind it.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds so exciting. Yeah, I'd love to come along myself, get out of
Yes,
my
yes,
village for a bit.
yes, you must. It'll be, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So when's the first trip? Have you got that far yet? Have you got dates and things?
So this is what I'm in the middle of planning right now. What I want to do this year is so I'm going to be doing a part, having my teaching on the side, and I want to try a few trips. I'd like to try a trip once a month. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so there'll be trips with mixed activities. So they'll not be the focused ones that I told you, not only food and not only outdoor activities. So a bit of everything, because I really want to
Yeah.
gauge what people enjoy doing, and
Mm-hmm.
just get an idea of, yeah, what people want, and get some feedback. So my first trip I had planned was in June. And
Okay.
trying to get people together, people that are interested in that sort of thing, and take it from there, have one every month. And then the idea is next year to, really, really expand and have the more sort of specialized trips in different places, not just in Rhondda. But this year it's about just doing a little bit of research, getting the trips going, getting people interested, and making people aware of the company. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So where could people find you? How do we get in touch with you and how do we learn about your trips?
Yeah, that's a good point. At the minute, I've got my personal Facebook. I've actually taken off my old company Facebook account because it's different, and it's a different holiday that I'm creating, and I have to redo that again. I do have a closed Facebook group right now, and so I would encourage anybody who's interested in these trips to contact me on my personal Facebook, and then I can invite them into that group, and that's where I'll be giving updates. I will be in the next couple of weeks when I get to Spain. I'll be, creating my new Facebook page again and creating the website where all the information is going to be available. But now, just getting in touch with me. My Facebook name is Lauren Bernison. I think you can put that in anyway afterwards. And if you're
Yeah, I'll put it
interested,
in the link. Yeah.
yeah, so it
Okay.
would be great, and if you know anyone else who would be interested in alcohol-free trip, yeah, just get in touch. And June is when I'm planning the first one. I'll have to get back about the dates. I'm trying to see as well, work around people when is a good time for them, because yeah, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
flexible about that.
Okay, okay. So at the moment then, if people just contact you directly,
Yes,
and then there will be some more updates coming
yes,
soon.
yeah, that's right.
Okay. Oh, that's lovely, Lauren. So exciting. I'm so happy for you. It sounds so good. So good.
Yeah, the other thing, Gail, I wanted to say is that I suppose as well as creating these trips, I want to create this new sort of alcohol-free travel revolution in a way. So
Mm,
a whole new, open a whole new world of alcohol-free travel for people. And I think it could be something really, really big. I know it's happening here, there, in small ways. There's maybe other people thinking about it too, but it's also about, like we said earlier, changing that perception that people have of people
yeah.
who don't drink. And so, as well as organizing these trips, I really want to, almost create like this alcohol-free travel revolution where we can change the perception. People will think, wow, actually, that sounds like a really awesome trip to go on, or the people that maybe even just want a break from drinking. You
Well,
know,
I was just going to
stories.
say, it could be kind of like, obviously it's an experience, but people could treat it as a retreat, kind of an alcohol-free retreat where they go and do something exciting and fun to a place that they've never been before and try lots of different activities. And they
Yeah,
do get that break, if you
yeah,
like. It could be a kind of, I don't know, maybe a kickstart to their
yeah,
sobriety, or it could be
yeah,
learning and getting empowerment. So, yeah, I
yeah.
think that's a brilliant idea, definitely.
I think you're right, you know, just a sort of taster of what it is. You know, people are very curious these days, and there's a lot of people that are stopping drinking for various reasons. And yeah, just to show them, you know, what this life could be like, and to show them there are other people, you know, like them out there that are doing it and, you know, having a great time.
Yeah, yeah, and also the beauty of it is as well, because often people have a huge problem when they have to go on holiday and they're not drinking. It might be the first holiday, or they might
Yeah,
be with friends who drink and they don't. But going on one of your trips removes that issue and that sort of
yeah,
mental struggle completely, because you know that you're just not going to drink, and that's it. And it makes everything else, I think, a lot more accessible and enjoyable, because you've
yeah,
taken away that worry from
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, exactly. And you're able to get up early and fill the day with
Yeah.
loads of really great things, you know. I forgot to say, sorry, Gail, that yeah, the company is called We Love Lucid. So yeah, I know you know that already, but
Yeah.
that moving forward, that's what I decided to call it. I like that idea of lucidity and
Mm.
having a clear experience of life, you know, and it sort of conjures up images, sort of, I don't know, it has a lot of positive connotations when I hear that word lucid, and yeah.
It's a brilliant name. I love it. I'll put that in the comments below. So anybody who wants further information, then they can just read below the video and check it all out.
Okay, good.
Lovely. So just before we wrap up then, Lauren, what would your top tip be, or what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's starting their sober journey and are looking for a bit of inspiration or motivation?
Hmm. Well, I mean, I think it's really important just to take one day at a time. I know
Mm-hmm.
everyone says this, but just take one day at a time, and that's how you get through it. And, you know, that's how you achieve anything big, really, you know, whether that's starting a new project, whether that's a new business venture, whether that's being successful at being sober, just taking a day at a time and, you know, get through each day, do a little bit each day to help yourself. And a lot of self-care, I think, is really
Yes.
important, you know. You don't be so hard on yourself. Look after yourself. Take time out to spend time in nature, whether that's reading about a topic that you really like. I know when I stopped drinking, I just read all these books about things. It was actually Korean politics at the time, but I went through this phase as well as eating heinous amounts of ice cream. But I'm sure
Yeah.
people can relate to that as well, you know.
Yeah.
So and you're going when you stop drinking, you know, a lot of things do come to the surface, and it gives you that opportunity to really look at why you started doing it in the first place. And it can be quite hard that, you know, going through all of that, and it can be quite a difficult experience. So I think it's just important to have a self-compassion and you know, try not to be so hard on yourself, because you do have to think about, you know, lots of memories come up and things you did and this and that, and so just sort of go easy on yourself and take every.
Thank you, Lauren. That's so good advice. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's been really nice talking to you. And remember, you can follow Lauren on Facebook, and all the links will be underneath the video. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you, bye.